Hi guys, welcome back to the Joyride podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Joy, and I'm so happy to have you back for yet another episode of the podcast. So let's get right into it. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, but you won't be hearing this episode until next Monday. So by then, we will be into February. And I was thinking after I posted my last episode, what do I want to talk about on this next podcast episode? And for the last week, I've been really focusing on how I'm feeling closing out this first month of this new year. And I really want this episode to be a reflective episode for you to sit back and really be able to reflect on this first month. It is just so crazy that, 1 down and 11 to go. And we are well underway into 2025. So I, of course, will be sharing everything that I am moving through, everything that I have learned throughout this month. I feel like I have a lot to share. And it's kind of crazy because we're only, about 4 weeks into the new year. But honestly, so much is already changing and so much is already happening. So that's what we're going to be getting into in this episode. So, January reflections. What do I want to talk about first? Okay, this is what's coming to mind. So, I think I had mentioned on the last episode, or not my last episode, but the one before when it was a solo episode, about setting boundaries, personally and professionally, saying no to people. I don't know what has come over me. I think it's, when you're being exposed to the things that you know need to change about yourself and the things that need to change about your life, and you're just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like, there has to be a new way of going about this. There comes a point where enough is enough and you actually start to integrate the change in your life. And then beyond that, once you continue to integrate it and embody it, it just becomes like something natural and it's a flow state. That is how I've felt lately, you guys, with saying no to people. It is like the easiest thing in the world for me to do now. Now, when I'm saying no to people, I'm saying no to opportunities. I'm saying no to things that people are inviting me to, things that people want me to be a part of. And before, like back in the day, back before 2025 came, I felt it was hard for me straight off the bat to say no. I felt bad. I felt like, honestly, feelings aside, my ego would get in the way a lot of the time, and my ego would try to convince me, maybe this is good for business, maybe this is good for this, maybe this is good for that. Now it's coming from a soul place of, if I don't want to do this, it's a no. If it doesn't feel like, oh yeah, this sounds really cool, it's a no. Just like straight off the bat, it's a no. Now, that's not to say that I don't have people's, I don't want to say feelings in mind. It's like, I'm so grateful that, people are asking me to be a part of this or to do something or to even think of me. Think about it. It's really nice for someone to say, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to be a part of this? I thought of you. That's really nice of someone to say that. But, I don't know what it is. It's like, when I first started saying no at the beginning of this year, I almost thought about it too much. How am I going to go about this? Trying to keep people's feelings in mind, be considerate of them. And just like we always talk about on this podcast, the more that you do something, the better that you get at it because you're getting more practice at it. And now it's so much easier for me to say no and not over explain myself as to why. I'm still working on that a little bit, but saying like, hey, no, it's not in the cards for me, because it's coming from like an intentionally loving place. It's not coming from a place of, am I going to hurt this person's feelings? Are they going to look at me a certain way? Are they not going to work with me? It's just like, listen, thank you so much, but it's a no. And you don't have to do it in a way that makes you a dick, you know? But that has been something that, like, right off the bat, in this new year, I'm like, oh, this is really nice that I'm feeling very comfortable saying no and I'm not avoiding people, because what I have noticed in my own personal deconditioning and healing journey is, I want to say over the past year, I've become so incredibly perceptive when it comes to other people's actions, when it comes to the things that people do that I don't like or I don't enjoy. It is crazy how easy it's been for me to pick up on those actions and pick up on that energy. And something that I've noticed a lot, actually, in a lot of my really close friends, is if I ask them to do something and they don't want to do it, they straight up avoid it. Like, they avoid getting back to me, they avoid answering, and I pick up on it. And so if I think, or if time goes by and I notice that they never got back to me, I'm like, okay, well, they clearly just don't want to do this. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to be the person that is emotionally intelligent and can handle, of course, their own emotions, because that's what it means to be emotionally intelligent, but to be a mature adult and to be confident enough in my decisions to say no, to say, this is not something that I want, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's not in alignment with me right now. It's not in alignment with what I'm focusing on and what my values are. And because of this practice, it has also allowed me to have so much more grace and so much more compassion towards myself. I have been working really hard over the past month when it comes to restructuring my life, restructuring the way that I perceive myself when it comes to Rebecca professionally, but also when it comes to Rebecca personally. What does Rebecca like to do in her free time? What does Rebecca find herself doing that helps her stay in alignment, that helps her stay really secure so that she's able to show up in a professional way in the best possible way? And something that I also want to touch upon is transitioning out of one way of doing life and into another. Maybe you are the people pleaser. Maybe you are the person that's constantly saying yes to people, and it's really, really hard for you to say no. What I've been noticing over the past month in myself is, I used to be someone, and I'm still working on this because we're always a work in progress over here. I can be very, very, very impatient. I can be impatient with myself, and I've also started to notice, just like how I mentioned how I'm very perceptive in noticing the things in other people that I don't like, I'm starting to notice how I interact with other people and when I do something that I really don't like. Like the other week, I was talking to someone about my website, and I apologized and I said, I'm sorry for coming off and being really impatient. You're the expert here. You know what you're doing. I want this to be good. I want it to be done. But it's really nice to hold yourself accountable. It's really nice for you to be able to spot and point out your faults so that no one is doing it for you. Have you ever, said something or done something and then afterwards you're like, shit, I know that they're for sure thinking this about me, because maybe the way that you went about it was not the best way. Now, we can, of course, be overcritical of ourselves, and I was so overcritical of myself last year. I realized that I was very critical, but I was also just really, really hard on myself, and I was really mean. I went through phases of my journey last year where I was my biggest fan and my biggest supporter, but because of the amount of deep, deep, deep healing that I did, it just felt naturally for me to point out all my flaws. And I believe that this is something that I had to go through. And that's just what happens when you're going through a massive rebirth and a massive transformation. It's like all of the shit that you don't like about yourself will most likely come to the surface, and you got to deal with that. But what I'm also realizing about this year is I found myself being really distracted last year. It was really a challenge for me to stay focused, to contain my focus. I don't know why felt so confused and like, how do I stay on track? How do I not get distracted? I just didn't know how to get out of this world of I'm constantly distracted. I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm never getting enough done. And because I was so distracted and my focus was being pulled in every which way, I found myself being really critical and really, really hard on myself. And now, even in this first month of the new year, I have started to implement so many different systems and ways of working and productivity hacks. And I'm going to create a whole other episode of productivity hacks, but I have mentioned a few already on these episodes. I have been turning off my phone way more. I think an easy one is like putting your phone in another room. I've been staying really, really disciplined with my new morning routine, even when I don't want to do certain things. I think for all of us, there are areas in our life that come really natural and really, really easy to us. Think about the ways, or think about the areas in your life where it just is so easy for you to show up. It just is so easy for you to be disciplined. I'm sure there are, at least one or two areas in your life where you're like, yeah, this is just so easy and so natural for me. But where the true growth happens is in those areas where you're not a natural, you're not an expert, you're not super comfortable, but you stay disciplined and you stay devoted. And a lot of people, get these words, I think they just, get them misconstrued, and the way that they perceive the words is like, oh my gosh, I have to be a drill sergeant and I have to do the same thing every single day at the same time. And it's like, not everyone is actually designed to work that way. But for instance, I have been really, really disciplined and devoted when it comes to prayer and gratitude, asking for help, and spirituality. Every single morning and night, I'm pretty sure since the beginning of the new year, I get on my knees and I pray to God every single morning and every single night. And trust me, there have been, I will say, more nights than mornings where I'm like, fuck, I gotta pray, I gotta thank God, I gotta express my gratitude, I gotta ask for help. Like, it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple thing, but we all experience this. Oh, I gotta unload my dishwasher. Oh, I gotta call my mom. Oh, I gotta send this email. But it's like, this is how you, I'm like losing my words. I want to say this is how you build muscle, but yeah, it's like, this is how you build any type of muscle. A spiritual muscle, an emotional muscle, a physical muscle, an abundance muscle, a love muscle, a joy muscle. I don't know. It's making sense in my head, but it's like showing up and doing the things even when you don't feel like doing it. And I know we've heard this from all the gurus. We've heard this from everyone. It doesn't matter how you're feeling, just like show up because you know that it's good for you. But it's like, let's really think about that. If on the other side of it, one, you're going to feel really good. But two, it's like, if you know that you want to progress in a certain area of your life, and you know that it's going to take you showing up and doing something, and it's inevitable that you're going to get the thing, that might get you to do something. Like, that's how I'm feeling about staying really disciplined when it comes to expressing gratitude and my spirituality. And I would say that this is something that does come very naturally to me, but it's more so in an intuitive way. If I feel like it, I'm going to journal if I feel like it. I'm going to meditate if I feel like it. Now I'm like, you're going to do it, whether you really want to do it or not. Working out, that comes very, very easy to me. Of course, I have weeks where I don't want to do it. But even last week, I was about to get my period, and I swear for half the week, the last thing on this earth that I wanted to do was get in the gym. And I thought, listen, Rebecca, if you can't do anything, you can go for a walk. And I know that that may sound really hard to you, but to me, working out, I would say I'm an expert in. I know what I love to do. I know what my body likes. It's very easy for me. I know how it makes me feel. I've been doing it for so long. I've gotten the results that I've wanted to get. I love how my body works, and I love how my body looks. So it's something that comes very easy to me, but I do have hard days where I don't want to show up. But it's easy for me to say, you know what? If you're not going to do this, do that. I give myself a plan B if plan A is just really not in the cards. But showing up for myself has allowed me to give myself so much more love, so much more grace, and so much more compassion. And I'm finding that throughout this month, at the end of each day, because I've mitigated so many more distractions, I've stayed so much more focused. I have committed to this morning routine that is really, really working for me. Even if my day starts at 9 or 2, or my days are kind of all over the place, really, that's something that I'm still working on, creating a schedule where I'm starting at the same time. There's more routine, but at least I'm infusing routine into some areas of my life. And now I'm not beating myself up that I didn't get the 60 million things that I needed to get done on my to-do list. Now I'm able to tackle the really, really big things. And even if I've only accomplished 1 or 2 work things that day, or maybe I don't even have a day where I do anything work related, but I really poured into myself. I poured into my home. I poured into my own cup. I feel so much better. I feel so much more accomplished at the end of the day. And I'm able to look at myself and say, we're making the right moves. We're contributing. We're contributing to, that 1% gain. We're contributing to the compounding effects of you showing up. And before, I was so focused on the big, big, big quantum leaps. And now I'm finding it to be really fascinating and really fun to see myself get better every single day. And I don't even really know how to explain it. It's like what it does to your mental state when you're working at something every single day and you're making a little progress here, a little progress there, a little progress there. It feels like it's so much easier for you to get that thing, for you to get that result, for you to get that outcome, because you're showing up every single day. You're pouring yourself into this thing every single day. And now I'm filled with so much excitement. I'm filled with so much more love and gratitude for myself, because I'm like, look at what you're doing every single day. Not every day is the best day ever. Not every day is a moneymaker day. Not every day is, oh my gosh, yes, I'm feeling and experiencing miracles and blessings and gifts, but every day I'm thanking God for the miracles that are showing up in my life. Every single day I'm asking for help. Every single day I'm showing up and I'm doing the work. I am doing the work. I am putting in the work. Whether that work is exercising my ability to say no. Whether that work is, you know what, I'm going to turn off my phone for 2 to 3 hours and I'm going to try my fucking best to not get distracted by Instagram or someone texting me or getting back to someone. Because when you're moving from one way of being, from one process to another, you guys, it just takes time. It takes time for you to show up in this new world with this new perspective, with this new way of being. I think we are just too quick to judge ourselves, too quick to say, well, it didn't work. Well, I can't do it. It's like, did you give it a fair shot? It's like, I don't think that my body fully changed. I mean, I went through cycles where I saw my body drastically change, but it took a lot of time. I mean, I have been someone that's been really disciplined when it comes to my workouts. I would say ever since I graduated college. I mean, I worked out in college for sure, but I wasn't super disciplined like I am now. And I went through these phases where I was super in it and then I was not in it. But now I'm in the position where I really do have the body that I've always wanted. I don't look at my body and think, ugh, this could be so much better. I'm like, I fucking love how I look. I really do. I've worked really, really, really hard since I was, I want to say 21 for this body, but it took me a long, long time to get here. I'm 29, you guys. Okay, that's 8 years. And like I said, I've gone through phases where I felt really good and really comfortable in my body, but things just take time. Now, I don't want that to scare you and say, oh my God, it's going to take so long for me to get to where I want to be. But it's like we are so quick to say, I want it now. I want it to be here tomorrow. I want to wake up tomorrow and I want to be the girl that wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes to bed at 9 and has her morning routine and her nighttime routine. The first step in all of this is to want to make that change. That's the first step. The second step, which is the hardest step, is showing up all the damn time to make this actually your new reality. I mean, I'm still working on a nighttime routine. Every night I'm like, fuck, I'm going to bed way too late, have my morning routine, but I'm still hitting the snooze button like every morning because I'm just not getting enough sleep. And, I've stopped myself from beating myself up because I'm like, Rebecca, we know where the problem is starting. The problem is starting because of your nighttime routine. You haven't nailed that down. Because of that, you're not getting enough sleep every night. It's just like, it's cause and effect here. So I know where the problem is stemming from. It's me, it's my actions. But I'm not beating myself up and saying, you stupid piece of shit, your whole day is ruined. I have had plenty of days this month where I'm just like, I'm fucking exhausted and I need to sleep. I remember having one day this month where I don't know why I was so exhausted. It was a Thursday. I did nothing. I think I got out of bed at maybe 11 or 12. I ate. I took a long nap. I think I went to the gym, and that was my big, that was the only thing that I did that day. And I felt like, okay, I did something today. I worked out. To me, if I work out, you know what? I did something today. And, we have those days, we have those weeks, especially as women. For all of you women listening to this, I have really been learning how to lean into my cycle and how I work and how I show up and when I'm creative. I'm just at the tail end of my period now. I'm super, super excited to have my week or however long of ovulation because I know that one, you're beautiful during ovulation. You're the prettiest during this phase of your cycle. But also, because I know this now, I have planned my work week around that. For the majority of this month, it's been a lot of behind the scenes, creating, doing a lot of admin work, doing a lot of client work, getting a lot of things in motion. So now over this next week, week and a half, I'm going to fucking carpe diem and seize the moment and seize this energy. And I'm going to be doing a lot of filming, a lot of things that are front facing, being in front of the camera, connecting with more people. But I had to realize in order to seize this energy and seize this moment, I had to do what I had to do to get here. But when it comes to, this process of really turning into someone that you're not used to, that you don't really know yet, give yourself more grace, give yourself more love, give yourself more compassion, because that person already exists, but it's going to take a little bit of time for you to get there. And the quickest way that you get there is you show up and you try again and you try again and you try again and you try again. There's a saying about entrepreneurs and failure, and it's like entrepreneurs are not afraid of failing. The people who are so scared of not getting it right and so scared of failing and so scared, those are the people that don't end up doing anything great. I know about myself, I'd rather fucking fail a million times, because I know if I'm failing that many times, it is inevitable that I reach success. You have to remind yourself that you have time. This is something that keeps on coming back to me for some reason this month, because I'm navigating my relationship with time and really how I view time. And this month alone has shown me how much I now value my time, because I've taken a lot of time over the past few months to sit with myself and ask myself, what do you want to do? What do you not want to do? And how do you want to go about it? And because of that, it's now so much easier for me to, again, say yes to the things that I really, really want to do, say no to the things that I don't want to do. But in knowing that still, it's hard for me to almost convince myself that I don't have to necessarily do something. I know that we all can agree with this. There are areas in our life where we've just been conditioned to say yes and show up. But if you really think about it, by you showing up, what is this doing for you? Is it moving you forward personally? Is it moving you forward professionally? Is it moving you forward, within your relationships, within, your purpose in life, within, your sense of self-worth and value? Like I personally have had to take a lot of time to sit back before I engage in something and ask myself, why am I doing this? And I know that sounds like duh, like why would I be doing something if I don't want to do it, if it's not, getting me closer to a goal or getting me closer to a certain desire? But honestly, you guys, we all can just easily go on autopilot. I even feel that way about the quote unquote good things, whether it comes to things that I'm doing for my health or spirituality or work. I'm like, oh, I got to send this email because this is going to move me forward in my business. But this month has been all about taking the time to reflect and sit back. We have 11 more months in this year. If you haven't done it already, really take the time and sit with yourself and take inventory of every single aspect of your life. You don't need to get into the nitty-gritty, but think about your everyday. Think about the moment that you wake up, what you do before you go to work, or what you do before you, get into your work for the day. Or maybe you aren't doing something work-related every day. Maybe you are taking care of your kids and taking care of your family. Think about those daily actions, and then think about, what are the things that I'm doing on a weekly basis? I'm sure that there are certain things that you are doing just because, well, I've always done this and it's really comfortable. But if we can take some time to take a step back, this is going to help you so much in the long run and help you so much with creating something new for this year. Not to say that everything about this year needs to be new and there needs to be change in every single aspect of your life, but I'm sure if you're listening to this episode and you care about self-development, you care about your self-growth, there are certain focus areas in your life where you're like, I know that things got to change because the way that things are going right now is not the way that I want it to continue. I'm doing it with you. I am figuring it out as well. But again, I'm able to hold myself accountable, but also have so much more compassion and grace and love for myself, because I am asking myself these hard questions. I am saying, hey, is this something that really, really needs to be done? And if it does need to be done, when does it need to be done? Does it need to be done now? Does it need to be done next week? Does it need to be done next month? I also think something that has been honestly really beautiful is connecting with younger me, connecting with my child self. Last night, out of nowhere, I just dropped into this meditation. I did nothing to elicit this experience and to allow myself to go there, but I was just sitting in meditation, and then something from my childhood came up, something that has brought me so much shame and so much guilt. And I've felt like I've detached from it in the past, but last night was a really, really big, like, cutting the cord, detaching from this. And I saw my younger self. I saw myself talking to her, and I out loud was able to talk to her as if I, Rebecca, 29-year-old Rebecca, was talking to Rebecca in kindergarten. And I looked at her and I said, I'm so proud of you. And I was listing off all of these things that I love about myself. You are so confident. You are so courageous. You are so brave. You know what you want. You've always gone after the things that you want. You should be so proud of yourself. And of course, I'm weeping. I'm like, fuck, I just did this whole skincare routine. Now I'm like crying everything off. I should be asleep by now, but like, this feels so good. And I just allowed myself to go there. And this is something that I really want to continue to connect with and connect to over the course of this year. I mean, at this point, I don't think we really understand the key to getting every single thing that we want. I think for every person that looks a little bit different, but I do know that having this unconditional level of self-love and self-acceptance for yourself is a huge game changer. A mind-blowing revelation that I had last night after I went into this deep meditation and I connected with my younger self, and I was able to forgive myself for something so traumatic that has been carried with me ever since I was a child, was this realization that when it comes to the deep, deep healing, where we are faced with our darkness, faced with our demons, faced with all the shit that we don't like about ourselves, of course that's healing. We're facing ourselves. It's the hardest thing that any single one of us can do. Like, none of us want to go back to those painful moments. Going back there last night, it's hard. It's hard to think about things that we have all gone through, that we have all survived, from. It's hard to go back there. Why would we want to go back there? But by going back there and giving ourselves so much love and so much acceptance and saying, you have forgiven yourself. This is not a part of your story. Listen, you can't take it back. You can't go back and you can't change the past. But you, from this moment, can love and accept yourself through all of that. Like, how powerful is that, to look at yourself, to look at the times in your life where maybe, for a lot of people, they went through this phase where they were drinking a ton and smoking a ton and doing drugs and hanging out with the wrong people. Not for everyone, but I have heard so many of these stories, like just, hanging around the wrong people, the wrong crowds, no sense of self, no sense of purpose, no sense of life direction. It's like we all have moved through different environments that have brought us so much pain and so much darkness and so much challenge. But to be able to go back there and say, I forgive you, and I am giving you so much love, and I'm giving you so much grace, because we are never going back there. We're never going to experience that again. And you're out of it. And you're moving forward. You're moving on to something that is bigger. You're moving on to something that is better. You are putting in the work. And for me, it almost felt like the bravest thing that I could do is forgive myself. Truly, like, you are so brave for forgiving yourself, even though this part of your story you feel like is so horrible and you feel like is so dark, and it's just a part of you, a part of who you are, and you wish that you never went through it. How brave are you to bring back up that pain and say, I'm still going to love you. You're still amazing. You're still magnificent. You're still so worthy of getting everything that you want. You're still so valuable. You're still so wonderful. Do you see where I'm getting at here? It's like, I don't think I've ever really fully understood that. I have looked at myself as this champion, as this warrior for, overcoming so much darkness and so many challenges and so many demons. But I'm starting to realize that, the growth is not just through the dark and the pain. The growth comes from having this unwavering sense of love and acceptance for ourselves. And at any point when we fuck up, when we say something that we wish we wouldn't have said, when we do something that we wish we wouldn't have done, it's to say, I still love you. You're okay. You're still a good person. You're still worthy. You're still able to receive all of these desires that you want. Like, we can be so judgmental and so critical and so mean and say, well, because this happened to me, I'm not able to change, or I'm not able to become a different person, but you are. It's just allowing yourself to constantly connect with that energy. And it's this energy that I want to continuously be coming back to really ground myself and really remind myself that I am worthy of every single thing that I want. For the go-getters that are listening to this episode, trust me, I get it. I'm like, oh, I still have to work until I'm ready to go to sleep. I still have to do this. I have to work on the weekends. I have to show up. I have to do this. I have to do the healing. It's like, take a nap. Take a step away. Give yourself some rest. Just chill. Like, the fact that you want to become a different person and do more and do better, we're surpassing so many people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the work is always in progress. Once you hit that level, you're going to want to go to another level. It's a great feeling. I'm so grateful that I am that type of person that loves to grow and that loves to get better and says, you know what, this is good, but shit can get so much better. But I want to continuously remind myself throughout this journey to connect to where I came from, connect to what I've grown through, connect to this energy of it doesn't matter what happened in the past and it doesn't matter what happens in the future. You are love. You are here to give love. You are here to love and accept yourself. And that is the energy that you should be carrying with you. Not even you should, like, that you need to carry with you throughout this journey of changing and evolving and growing and becoming a better person. Because you're here, you're listening to this episode, you want more for yourself. You want more for your life. I obviously love to share about myself and share about my life and share about what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me. But at the end of the day, I just want to give you value and I just want to help you really live out your best life, because what you take away from this episode is going to differ from the next person. I mean, every time I record these episodes afterwards, I'm like, ooh, I could talk about this. Ooh, I could have shared about that. It's like every day we are met with something new. Every day we are met with new challenges, with new growth, with new gifts, with new desires, with new ways of acting and believing. And like, truly, every day is just one big surprise. So why not continuously meet ourselves with love and with acceptance? Because so many people, unfortunately, don't know what that feels like. And it just feels so comforting to look at yourself and say, despite what's happened, despite the areas that you still just haven't quite gotten it yet, I know for me, there are quite a few areas in my life where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to just get this area of my life right. I'm so ready. But there are also so many areas of my life where I'm getting it fucking right. So if I've gotten it right in certain areas, I know because of that, I am capable. There's so much potential for me to get these other areas of my life that I really, really, really want for me to get it right. And I feel the exact same way for you. So as you finish out this week and as you step foot into a new month in February, I really, really hope that you take the time to reflect on this month. What worked? What didn't? Where were you struggling? Where were you succeeding? What were your wins? What did you feel like you could have focused more on or worked more at? What is your intention for next month? What do you want to focus on? And also knowing that with each month, I know I already mentioned this, but with each week, with each month, not everything is going to always look the same. We have, astrologically, we move through so many different types of energies in just 1 month. It's actually, it's mind-boggling when I think about how much energy we're moving through each month. And I know that I feel really, really connected when we have a new moon, when we have a full moon, when we're in retrogrades, when we're shifting signs. I just feel it all. And then on top of that, women and our hormones and our cycle. And it's we are just navigating so much new energy. So just please remind yourself that each month brings something different. So if you have a week where you're like, I just can't, Rebecca, I can't, I'm really trying. Listen, I'm proud of you for admitting that to yourself. I'm proud of you for saying, I'm trying, and for some reason, I can't fucking get it together. Trust me, I am going through the same thing. I have weeks where I'm like, yes, bitch, you are a queen. You are so productive. And then I have other weeks where I'm like, you were just in your feminine energy and you were just vibing. Okay? It is okay. It is okay to experience this energy. But take the time before we move into this next month, whether you want to do that at the end of each week or at the end of each month, reflect on the past week that you had. There's so much beauty in reflecting, and I find that so many new reflections and revelations come up for me, and that is how we continuously make progress and make the change. If we can face ourselves with honesty and love and compassion and say, listen, this worked, which is great, we're moving in the right direction, but these things did not work. This is how we simplify everything. This is how we become more pure. This is how we strip back the noise and the distractions and the shit that is really not serving us and get back to the truth and get back to the value in ourselves and in our lives and get back to the things that really, really matter to us. That's what this is all about. Simplifying, seeing the truth, seeing the value. We only have a finite amount of time every single day. You don't have time to do everything. You just don't. You don't have time to see every single person in your life. You don't have time to pour yourself into everything. So it's up to us to focus on where we want that energy to go. That's really it. Where do you want to be putting your energy and focus? That is up to you. It is up to no one else. I hope that, I can inspire you with sharing what I'm focusing on, but it's always shifting and it's always adapting and it's always pivoting because that's me and that's my life. But yeah, I think that's all that I really feel called to share for this last episode of January. As always, if you found this episode to be inspirational, or you found a gem, or you just found something good about the episode, it would mean so much to me if you shared this episode with someone that you think needs to hear it. If you could rate the podcast if you haven't already done so, leave a comment, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or any other platform. I, of course, will leave all of my links in the show notes, and I'm feeling really excited for the next month. I'm already wanting to change my vision board for 2025 because my vision has grown and my dreams have grown, and that feels so, I'm just I don't know, I keep on coming back to the word excitement. I just feel so excited for this year because I'm putting in the work, and it feels really good to put in the work and to show up and stay devoted and disciplined. And with that, I'm like, well, we got to change out some things on the 2025 vision board, which I didn't mention, but you have permission at any point in given time to change whatever you want about your life. I mean, I think that this is just a well-known thing, but so many people are so uncomfortable with change. It's like at any point, if something's not serving you, you can change it. You don't need to explain to someone why. You don't need to get them to understand. Like, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. It's one of my favorite quotes. It just resonates with me so much. I'm like, if this makes sense to you, if this makes sense to me, it doesn't need to make sense to you. So change the vision board, change the way that you are doing things, change your workouts, change the way that you're eating, change the times that you're going to sleep and waking up, change your morning routine, change your friend group, move, like change as much as you feel called to change. So with that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here and being a supporter of me and this podcast. It truly means so much to be able to do this and to show up. I just love it so much. So thank you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.